Hi, welcome to my video about how to do this great Lotus Blossom card using the new Sale-A-Bration set, Lotus Blossom. And when I first got this set and looked at a lot of the samples that were being done, I noticed that it wasn't being shown on the water, which a Lotus Blossom is a water flower. And this is a set which you can get right now for free with a $50 purchase from Stampin' Up! And so I decided that I wanted to make a card that would show the blossom on the water. And I thought the best way of doing that would be to stamp the first two layers in a color and then use the Versamark and embossing powder to create the last layer so that the flower would be white. And then I could sponge over it and make an embossing resist, which is how I've done this card. But so many people wanted to know exactly how I did it, and they wanted a video, so here I am to show it to you. If you haven't gotten this set yet, you'll find when you open up the case that it is a polymer set, and they have very helpfully given you a guide with a little arrow tab on each of the flower sets to show you how to line them up and what order to stamp them in. So this is 1, 2, and 3. For this card, I'm using Pool Party, Wisteria Wonder, Strawberry Slush, and Smoky Slate. I'm also using a Versamark pad and clear embossing powder, a blender pen, Pool Party marker, and the Uniball Signo white gel pen. Alright, let's get started. I have a piece of Whisper White. And what I'm going to do first is take the very first layer of the set for the blossom, and I'm going to stamp it in Wisteria Wonder. And we want these peaks and lines, two parallel lines here are going to go straight up and down. That's how I know which way the blossom faces. So that's my first layer. The second layer I'm using Strawberry Slush, but it is a little too dark for my taste. I tried it before, and when you add clear embossing powder to the top of this, you end up getting deepening the color of some inks, and this is one of them. So I'm going to stamp off the first generation of ink, and then I'm going to stamp. I'm just going to stick my big head in the way here so that I get this in the right place. My second layer. And already you can see how pretty that is, even before you do anything. Now, the first time I tried this, it ended up looking wrong because there were no shadows on this flower after I did all of the sponging and all that other stuff, and it just looked weird, like a big thing that was sitting there. So I'm taking Smoky Slate ink, and I've squeezed the pad to get some color in the lid, and I'm using a blender pen. And this is what I'm going to use to create some shadows on my flower. And the nice thing about the blender pen is that the color sort of wears off and fades as you pull it along, so it's a really great way of getting gradations. And so I'm just putting some shadows at the base of each of these petals. Any place where it looks like there would be a shadow, I'm going to put one, including in there. And that looks pretty good. Maybe make it a little darker right at the base there, just to give it a little dimension. Get rid of the excess color, put the cap on, and that's it for that. Final layer is I'm going to use is Versamark, and I will take and line up Okay. there. And of course you're not going to be able to see that because it is clear and sticky. And what I will do at this point is, I just have a coffee filter. This is what I use to emboss when I'm just doing a little bit of embossing. I'm going to put some clear embossing powder right on there and shake off the excess. And carefully move my powder away from where I will heat emboss this. And so I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss this. And that looks good. I'm just going to check to make sure that all of the powder melted, which it did not. There's one tip of one petal here that didn't quite. And the rest of it looks good. Okay, I'm going to get the excess powder off of here. Now, moving onward, I'm going to take Pool Party, and I'm going to get my sponge wedge, and I keep a separate color, or a separate sponge wedge for each color, and I label it because I don't like to mix colors. I'm just anal that way. And I will start by adding some nice soft color right around the flower, sort of fading it out. Oops, careful not to bend. And I want it to sort of fade out as it goes up toward the top. So it gives it that kind of ghostly look. Okay, and there's my first color application. Then I'm going to take the Pool Party marker with a brush tip, and I'm going to start drawing ripples. Now the thing is, you're looking at it from an angle, and while a ripple itself is circular, when you look at it from an angle, it becomes an ellipse. And so you're drawing an oval. And I'm going to go, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to be doing a lot of adjusting, and you can do partials. What I did was I sort of started with a big ellipse and I just went out from there. And you don't want them to necessarily all connect up. Okay, and I'm also going to take the wonderful Wisteria Wonder. I never get that right. Wisteria Wonder Pad, and I'm going to get myself a little color in the lid. And I'm going to take the blender pen, and I'm going to start adding some color and shadows around the flower so that it looks like it's sitting above the water slightly. And I will add a few washy looking parts to the ripples. The thing about using a blender pen is you have to be careful not to overwork your cardstock because it will start to pill up. So it's important to have a light touch with it. And this has to kind of just... Alright. Now at this this point, I'm going to go ahead and get my sponge back and sort of use that to add a little more color, just to sort of tone down some of the marks I just made. And I might want to go back in and sort of add some back in just to keep going. It's hard for me to talk and color at the same time. It's like some people with gum and walking, you know, chewing it. Alright. Well, it's just a matter of kind of just working it until it looks right. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and take the gel pen and just get it to work. Sometimes it doesn't like to if the cardstock is a little damp. So I'll try to get it going here. Well, isn't this fun? Just the way to make me look bad in front of everyone! Okay. I'm really a calm person most of the time. Really, I am. Well, this just sucks. Let me get another one. This one obviously has seen better days. But, actually, keep more than one of these things around at any given time. Aha! There we go. This one's skipping a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's really this final thing that adds the best finishing touch is, and you want some of these ellipses to have a tip to them and some of them not. And the thing is, they look a little much. So what I do usually at this point is take a blender pen, get rid of the color that should have been taken off, and sort of fade them in and out at the ends so they don't look like they're so much starting and stopping, but fading in and out. And just sort of work it. Until you get a very nice look. Okay, the final thing I did was, of course, to stamp the sentiment, which I did with wonderful wisteria. And the very last thing is going around the edge with the Pool Party sponge and adding some very soft color to the edges of this cardstock. Give it a kind of a vignette look. And there it is. And of course then I just layered it up on top of more Whisper White and on top of Pool Party, added 3 little pearls, and it was completed. And that is how you do this Lotus Blossom on the Water card. Thank you.